So if you only use brush for one thing, for the whole thing, you can get away up to a certain point. I think you should mix and match your tools. Again, if you're going to be doing Iron Man, there's going to be a difference if you use a brush compared to a quill. There's a clean, crisp line on the quill that you cannot get with a brush. There's a certain stiffness. If you notice, Terry Austin would be a great example, or Bob Layton. They have a certain mechanical look into their lines. And that's something that's really hard to mimic with a brush. And again, you don't want it all the time. Again, if you're doing hair, a brush really fits more. If you're doing something more mechanical, some armor or computers or anything at all like that, I do suggest a quill. Personally, I use a 102 against a raised edge ruler. And what I do is just dip in, and because the ruler has a raised edge, it won't bleed underneath when I go across. So I really suggest that. If you can't find one, or you just feel comfortable with your ruler, just take 2 pennies, which is really what I do.
Do you still get like the ink still kind of catching on the ruler though? Because I always have trouble with that. I can't make it work.
That's why I use the penny. It raises it up even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. The raised edge ruler
even
only
when I
goes
raise
so
it
far.
up, it's still, I don't know how, maybe I'm just stupid. I just don't know how to use it.
I think
I don't know how to ink.
I think you're double
It really all
dipping.
depends. It really all depends. If you should really go away from your ruler when you rule. If you hit it dead on, or if not in an angle, it will bleed underneath. I mean, don't be fooled by the.
Here's the answer. Please don't bleed.
I did bring some stuff just to show you guys some of the, I mean, this isn't everything, but it just gives you an idea of what some of the pros can use. Like, these are a couple of the brushes, and you know, I mean, I agree. I mean, really, if you want to be a complete inker, really learn how to use a brush. You'll get an infinite variety of lines with the brush that you can't get with a quill. Practice with a quill too. I use both. And Christian is a big endorser of the Micron pens. These are starting to get very popular with artists of all levels.
I just find they're simply easier to use than a quill. The quill you have to dip in the ink every 2 seconds, which is very frustrating. The brush holds enough ink that you can do some work. And so just for to gain a little time, I get to use these, and they do a pretty good job.
They have different sizes. This is like a beat-up 15-year-old number 5. And this is a number 2. Yeah, this is a number 2. And these are Winsor & Newton Series 7 brushes. Now I use the big beater one just to fill in the big black areas. And you know, the number 2 is for final. I have a number 1 and a number 02, or OT, whatever you call it. But Sharpies, I do these for convention sketches. I don't really recommend them for professional work because, you know, they tend to bleed. You can only get a certain line, and also over time they fade and they turn kind of purplish. So
then they smell.
Yeah, they smell too. Some people like that smell. That's fine too. But don't use it for inking. Smell it. Now the company that makes these Microns, they also make a set of pens called the Pigma Sensei pens. And these are basically, they come in 6 different sizes as well, but they're basically a cheaper version of the Microns. And I'm not really sure of the difference. I actually prefer using these more than the Microns. I wish I brought all the sizes.
I've tried them.
Oh yeah, you like them? You don't like them?
No,
I actually like them. I like the way they glide. I also, because I plug these, they send me free stuff. So,
Free stuff. I get it now.
Usually the sizes for the microns, whatnot, you got 0.005, 0.01, 0.03, 0.05, and 0.07 come in a set, if I remember correctly.
One thing about the brush compared to the quill, for speed, you really want to go with a brush. Once it flows, it just glides over the paper, it doesn't tear into the paper, and it dries fairly quick. Once you start using a quill, I remember at one point using 2 pages at a time, which normally I think everybody kind of does, because you kind of get bored while one is drawing. But it will take a while for it to dry, depending on how much you actually pressed on it to get a thicker line.
do you guys get like really irritated, like with the inconsistency of the quills that you get? Because my quills are so inconsistent with the matches.
I'd say out of 10, you got to throw away at least a good 3 or 4.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but even brushes work like that. Like when you first get them, they're not ready yet. You need to break into them a little.
Break them in.
Well, yeah, because it's
Then you get like 2-3 good weeks out of it, it's just perfect. And then it starts to go away, you don't even realize it. And then it starts to die and try to keep it working still. So that's, and also like when you, I mean, same brush, you just take it out of the pack and sometimes it just doesn't work that well. It just like, you can make it work, but it's going to be more difficult. So there's always one which, 1 out of 5 maybe. And these are expensive too, so that's
You use a Raphael brush, right?
yeah.
Have you used the Winsor and Newton? Can you tell the difference between, what's the difference in your eyes? Because I've only known Winsor and Newton.
Well, the difference is that I can use the Raphael, the other one doesn't work for me.
Like, well, is there a difference in the way the hair snap?
Yeah, I just get like the perfect rebound, perfect point, perfect everything just works so well that everything else I've tried like seems poor compared to it. But it may be because I was used to this one since I was, I don't know, like 4 years.
Because the pros I've spoken to, they either use the Winsor Newton Series 7 or Raphael. But whatever you use, you want to use just because it's comfortable for you and your hands. And don't buy one of those brushes like at Target, you know, those grade school
or like
Crayolas. Do get the best quality. You know, you do get what you pay for when it comes to art materials. You buy a really good brush, spend some money on it, and take care of it, and it'll last you a long time if you take care of it. It'll be good to you, and it'll be good to your art.
Well, that's the important thing, taking care of it. Don't just, let's say you got to go to the bathroom. Sometimes it's 30 seconds, sometimes it's longer. Please clean your brush. Don't leave it inside, your little bucket of water or anything, your cup of water. If you do that, then you're just splitting hairs at the end. You can't do that. Just rinse it out, dry it out, and personally, I lick it. Something about the saliva, it maintains the shape.
Together.
But, just lick as you're licking, you flick it around.
The ink on it?
No, just clean it. Actually,
Yeah, we're gonna get a lawsuit.
Usually at the end of the day,
What
but,
it has ink on
but
it.
if you're thinking
Not
of
ink,
leaving
paint.
for any stretch of time, by all means, you have to clean it. Same thing as a quill.
Yeah, don't do
no
this.
tongue
Don't let it
Yeah,
dry.
that's what I was about to say.
I was thinking
like that.
I'm the worst guy when it comes to cleaning my stuff, so I'm a big hypocrite.
What I do is like with a brush, I have a little cup with some water, and since you use a waterproof ink, I dip my brush in a little water and just dry it out quickly like that on a piece of paper towel. Then I dip into the ink. I draw my stuff, and when I'm done, I dip it again, and I repeat the whole thing. At the end of the day, I take cold water, soap, and I gently clean up my brush and dry it, and then like that you make the tip of the brush, put it back in its stuff till the next day.
Since the brushes are actual hair, and you notice that the brush is kind of drying a little bit, you can take a tiny little bit of conditioner. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but if you condition it with the shampoo, it will last a lot longer.
I bring it with me to the shower sometimes. I'm not even making a joke. I'll actually take a shower and I'll bring my set of brushes in there that I've used, because I brush my teeth in the shower. I'm one of those guys. I pee in the shower. I do everything in the shower. So I'll bring my brushes in the shower too.
See, you guys were just talking about inking, huh? Yeah. Now, I got a question for you guys. Okay. Do you guys use rulers, curves to do all your line work? Everyone raise your hands if you use tools all the time to do your straight lines. Every time. Okay. See, I'm proud of you. One of the key things is doing the small stuff. And the small stuff is using your rulers, using your French curves and whatnot, even the smallest things, because the small details, if you don't take care of them, they are very glaring as you get better and better as you're inking. Because all the big stuff you're taking care of, and then you got to focus on the small things. And rulers and tools are very, very important. So you should really get used to using your tools. That's another thing that you really need when you're starting.